The Rise of Africa, the continent, the diaspora, and BRICS explores the relationships that are affecting the global economy right now. This book explores the relationships of the African diaspora's influence on the African continent and why this is important in stabilizing relationships with an understanding of how BRICS impacts the future, good or bad. You can order your copy of The Rise of Africa today on Amazon.com.
Every journey begins with a simple act of care. For Quest to Unite Africa, that journey started with something simple: a mother, a newborn, and a promise that no life would be forgotten. We did not begin with buildings, we began with people. We packed mother newborn kits with our own hands because real change starts where the need is greatest. Those kids traveled farther than we imagined, and they opened our eyes to a deeper truth. Aid saves lives, but infrastructure saves generations. So we grew. Together with donors, volunteers, and partners, we sent a medical container to Burkina Faso. Not just supplies, but hope. Not just boxes, but proof that when a community comes together, healing moves across borders. That moment changed us because we realized something powerful. We weren't just delivering help, we were building a future. Now, the journey continues. The next chapter is bigger than a shipment, bigger than a campaign. We are raising funds to build a state-of-the-art hospital, a place where mothers can give birth safely, where families can find care close to home, and where communities can grow stronger for generations to come. This hospital is not just a structure, it's a promise. A promise that healthcare will no longer be temporary. A promise that dignity will have a permanent home. And just like every step before, we cannot do this alone. Every gift, every brick, every name placed on the founder path becomes part of a story that began with compassion and is growing into legacy. It helps us move from emergency aid to lasting healing, from containers to care that never leaves, from vision to reality. Join us, stand with us, help us build a hospital that will serve generations, moving healthcare into action. Visit q2ua.org today.
Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. The reason that I can say that is you have a couple of different factors occurring right now as we speak on the world stage. The dollar is being disrupted. Nations are no longer wanting to engage with the United States. But the third factor that affects each and every one of us is that there is a diaspora from the African continent that's willing and able to engage our brothers and sisters on the continent. All right. Shalom. Salama. Siemi. Shalawam. Greetings to all my Israelite brothers and sisters from around the world, whether you're the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the house of Israel, or you're a Gentile grafted into the house under the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach. I welcome you this morning. Oh, what a day. Boy, are they going to town over the Orange Messiah. You cannot make this up. Now y'all are really understanding how he's about to he's about to get after and go after these 501c3s. Let me just, in my brand of ignorance, my fashion of ignorance, if you give me about 5 minutes today, I want to fashion a little sermon of what you may experience the next time when you visit a church here in the United States. Oh, let me give you a little taste and a preview of what you may get when you show up and they start in on the choir. Oh, you would have something like Trump is the way maker. Trump is here, messing lives up all around. Trump is here, stealing money without sound. Trump is here, breaking all the oaths. Cannot keep his promises. Cannot keep his promises. Waymaker, not a waymaker. Strait of Hormuz closer, blockade keeper. Creating more darkness. Oh, I don't want to know what that communion is really going to be, if you know what I'm saying, with that brand of grape juice. Pastor, what type of dehydrated crackers is this? See, what you have to do some real interesting spiritual ninjutsu. He said, since I can't beat them Epstein files, he's just going to he's just going to have the third book, the Trump Testament. It'll consist of first Trump, second Trump, the acts of Epstein, Trump is a miracle worker. He is. Did you see how he raised the dead to life? Well, of course we did back in October, excuse me, August, September 2024, when he was debating Biden. I mean, people thought he was dead until Biden showed up on that stage. Praise Trump. Praise Trump. It's really not a joking matter, but it is comical to see just how this place is really going down in flames. Spiritual flames. Spiritual flames. And this was everything that we said was getting ready to happen. Because why? Because of their vanity. White supremacy is vanity. We told you that. I've told you that. And now their vanity is coming to its fullness. And that's simply because they couldn't address us. So what they did was they went into themselves and they just got lost. They're gone. There's nobody home. Well, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. Good luck with that. There's nobody home. Well, we're going to get reparations or we're going to, good luck with that. There's no one home. They done snorted the last of their spiritual meth and fentanyl, and they just spiritually overdosed. They're foaming out the mouth. Their eyeballs are rolled back into their head. They're seconds away from death. They're gone. Save them if you want to with the spiritual methadone. I'm not going to do that because it's too toxic. It is. And when the rest of the nations are now seeing this, and remember I had said something earlier, and it's funny because our Canadian Israelite brother up north had said, and as I paraphrase, now Europe is trying to have a response for Trump. It's too late for that. We're now well over 45 days into this war. It's too late. Their economies are done. If they're trying to have a response to Trump, this is what ends up happening. They then have to deal with a finite resource constraint, which is, are you going to try to neutralize the United States before you run out of fuel? And when you run out of fuel, will you be able to have fuel for your economy so that your economy can actually be functional to help support military efforts? They're done. The only way I can see Europe actually doing anything is that they literally have to kowtow to China and then kowtow to to Russia, which would then effectively have the Ukrainian war being over, which essentially they can always, here's the thing, Europe can always blame the Ukraine war on the United States. That's the easy one. Europe can always blame everything on the United States. That's an easy one. Hey, we did this because we were bullied. We did this because, I mean, look at what we had to deal with. This was behind the scenes of how we had to deal with this person. He's just now lost it because he can't differentiate the mask anymore. That's what ends up happening when your mental declines. Oh, did I say that? Oops, I shouldn't have said that. Oh, did I really? Yeah, you did. Did I make that post? Yeah, you did. I thought I was a doctor with the red robes over the white. Okay. And now you are starting to see how this turn is going to happen as I break this down in a I would say post dissertation completion. So continue to pray for me, family. There's been a lot that I've been going through trying to finish up this doctoral process. The Most High had me start on this journey a little less than 7 years ago, or excuse me, 6 years ago. Now, everything that I do is for His glory. And I just thank the Most High that He's allowed me to go and walk this path of humility towards this completion. My last step after this is to defend my dissertation, which I pray should be within the next month or so before all this stuff goes crazy. You know, the funny thing is, before I even did this doctorate, I already had this on my mind back in 2017, 2018. And it was always about the African Union, Africa, the continent. I don't even know why. I was more focused on the Middle East at that time, but I said, yeah, but it's the resources. So you can't really say the Middle East, but you have to look at all the resources. I think about over these last 6 years when I began in earnest July of 2020. In the midst of COVID, and I took a break from completing my doctorate in 2021. And I didn't return to it until about 3 years ago. And it was interesting because as soon as I returned back to finish it up, I lost my job. I lost my job, but then Q2A started. And I don't boast on in here about, oh well, my doctor no, I don't do that. I actually look, I wrote a book. They advise you to not write your book yet until you finish your doctorate degree. In 2024, I literally wrote a book in less than a month. That is kind of unheard of, especially for my first book. People usually spend like at least 6 months. Oh, I got to do this, man. I put everything on out there. In the midst of me still working on my doctorate stuff. I don't know how I did it. But I do it because it's the Most High that gives me the understanding to get that done. See, our boast shouldn't be a boast of self. Our boast need to be a boast of and unto the works that Yahuwah has done for us in this time of severe persecution. What Trump has done is that not only has he alienated the whole world against the United States, but now his actions of blasphemy now gives the credence of the Abrahamic constructs of you're fighting a system of good and evil, and those claiming to be good are the wicked. But this is all the stuff that we talk about in the Word. This is everything you read about in Ezekiel. This is what you read about in Isaiah and Jeremiah and Daniel. Oh boy, they destroyed the whole world through what? Through policy, through peace, love. Yeah, they loved us so much that they kidnapped us. Think about that policy. So now we're here at day 46 of a war that they claim, the U.S. is claiming that they're interdicting these ships. Look, to me, they have a presence. And are they going to interdict ships? Probably ships that are low on the totem pole in terms of security threats. They do risk assessments. Don't get it twisted. They'll let Chinese ships go because more than likely in the area, they'll have some Chinese and Russian submarines waiting and loitering. Okay, you want to take down our ship? Then we're going to take out this carrier strike group. Everything else, you got to remember, the Chinese and the Russians truly do not care about the impacts that happens on smaller nations. They actually don't. You know that the very first thing that happened One of the very first actions that happened, China wasn't about, oh, well, we're going to go ahead and come to the rescue and support Iran via military actions because our neighbors out here in the Pacific, Philippines, those over in Malaysia, Vietnam, Thailand. You didn't hear any of that from them. All they did, they closed up shop. Oh, well, ain't no more oil flowing, so we're going to keep our oil in later for you. And that's exactly what they did. And then that caused turmoil in those Southern Asian countries. So, over the course of time, though, China has had to do a lot of growing up. You got to remember, even though China is one of the oldest countries, they have been bludgeoned to death for real. So they tread very carefully. And here's the reality, they had been scared of the United States. Yes, the Chinese were scared of the United States. And the reason being is simply because of this. The West turned China into a bunch of pookies. You want to talk about New Jack City? China was literally the enterprise. But your Nino Browns had nice corporate structures and names like the British Tea Company and Shanghai Corporate and all of these other niceties that by and large were just government sponsored RICOs. So you really can't say, they really can't say anything about drug cartels and drug lords and everything else. No, that's a deflection point. When historically they were such a drug cartel and supported drug cartels that they crippled a nation for almost 100 years. And they were so badly crippled that they were literally known as the sick man of Asia. And for them to literally kick the habit, the Chinese, deleted all of their dope fiends. The reality is that for a lot of our people, by and large, for our people to kick the habit, lawfare was imposed with all of these bare minimums and everything else that most of our people got scared to touch drugs. And our rates began to drop. And now, those that are on these hardcore drugs, particularly fentanyl, their demographics by and large do not look like us. So the reality is that as we are looking at how things are playing out, it's not looking too good for the idea that America will be able to sustain what it has been allowed to sustain for these last 250 years. Whenever you have the religio-maniacal, I think that's the best way to say it. Whenever you have a religio-maniacal construct, a lot of our people tend to forget that with the Pope, with Rome, with Catholics, the schisms that have taken place over the years have always been regarding different ideological issues. And let's just be honest, those ideological issues were always in place because someone wanted to utilize their position of authority to change things in a manner that would serve their interest. And as people have been quote unquote outraged, well, let's be honest, this has already happened in the past quite a lot. Think about King Henry. I believe either the 5th or the 8th, don't quote me. Changing the church to the Anglican church to be able to marry Anna Boleyn. To have it actually consecrated. And Brother Asaph is saying, yep, it was not only Catholics that were on the same page, the whole of Christendom was unified yesterday. Yes. Why is that? Because there had to be some sort of a catalyst that would be. Oh, thank you. Thank you, brother. Yeah, Charles and brother Asaph said it was Henry VIII. He died of syphilis exploding in his coffin. Yep. But see, remember everything that they had done. Well, guess what? It wasn't illegal at this time. This isn't just because you have the law of man. There's still a heavenly law, a heavenly precedent, no matter how much people want to say that. They can say heavenly, they can say universal. It is what it is. And now understand that all of a sudden, less than 3 weeks later, after the UN had adopted Ghana's resolution, now you're starting to see they're making their case of the precedence of becoming the most wicked and vile country in history. Are you all seeing that? The moral authority is now being destroyed. I'm not destroying anything. They are. But didn't we say that? We said in order for these nations to really pick up their swords, to beat their plowshares into swords, oh, here we go. If Brother Jacob was on, this will be the Micah chapter 5 moment. Why is that? Because now they're going to link. They're going to run a very, very I would say superficial analysis of this. Gas prices bad. America evil for making gas prices bad. America gone, gas prices good, life good. Simple equation. Simple Ishikawa fishbone diagram. Oh, need to get rid of leaders allowing America to be bad and having high gas prices. Okay, cue the revolt. I guarantee you Hungary's election, or what they thought about the election of getting rid of Viktor Orban, their exhilaration and euphoria will be very short-lived when they realize that they're running out of gas like the rest of the West. Literally, Ursula von der Leyen was actually saying it's, we're about to run out of gas. We got to take these extreme measures. The gas port that they wanted to use, that terminal that they wanted to use up in that Eastern Mediterranean nation, that Haifa port got destroyed. Which is why that Eastern Mediterranean nation is trying to do everything it can to fight Lebanon. Because it's a matter of control and dominance and domination. That's it. See, the reality was this: as they were just sitting there looking at Gaza and the atrocities in Gaza, don't get it twisted. They're atrocities. But they didn't speak out against it. And guess what? When you don't speak out against things and you are siding with the wicked, guess what tends to happen? Well, that wickedness that you turned a blind eye to, all of a sudden, one day, very quickly, it's at your door. Did you see how quickly this thing was at their door? Less than 2 months. Oh, you wanted to laugh and make fun of all those Gazans that were getting deleted just trying to get food to survive? Well, what do you think is going to happen to these countries when their food stuff start to run out? They said in about 45 days. Some economists are calling it in 45 days. And parts of the Asian Pacific sooner than that. That just goes to show you how delicate this global order was. So now they're running into a situation of who is going to make the first move. Uh-oh, do you see the whore, the harlot about to be thrown off the back? Do you see the overthrow that's getting ready to happen? People said it couldn't be done. People said that that was a lie, a fairy tale. I just say that this is the Most High getting his glory, because why? Because his word never returns back void. Never ever. And I don't care what churches are going to be doing to keep their 501c3, talking about First Trump chapter 3 verse 47. And it came to pass that as Trump was the greatest and he was winning and all he could do was win, he didn't see Iran coming. Magulation, exactly. Oh my goodness. I wonder what church is going to look like here this Sunday, 2 weeks after Easter. Well, you know, I got resurrected. I mean, you see, they tried to kill my presidency in 2020, and I was resurrected back in the office 4 years later. Praise Trump. Praise Trump. It's funny, but it's not funny. Oh, yeah. Jacoba called it. He's not a prophet though, so he is a prophetic resource to the community. That's what I say. Here's the thing: we all saw the train wreck in slow motion. We were talking about that train wreck for like 2 years. Excuse me. That crash is coming. That crash is coming. We talked about it with our family, with our friends for years. Hey, it's going to happen. Hey, it's going to happen. You all realize that everyone here in the United States now realizes that with the blockade, war was declared. That's a simple one. That they declared war on the rest of the world. That's a simple one. Now the world is trying to they're realizing, oh, they lied. They are the ones that lied. They are trying to, America is trying to make these nations their victuals. Absolutely. You are a slave, Neo. Now the UN has, or excuse me, not the UN. The EU had some really hard choices. I told you. Why do you think Trump said we're going to get out of NATO? Because NATO is trying to put the safeguards on the United States, and of course, that's not going to happen. Yeah, help us to block the port of Hormuz so you all can then starve? Yeah, we got ships. Ships, a lot of ships are coming to the United States. That's not going to work forever. Because here's the reality of this. Russia can impose its own blockade also. Yes, they could. And that blockade could happen with the help of those Nordic countries. Yes, they could. See, what goes around, it does turn around. Hey, we're not going to look. These countries have pipelines that can go. Norway touches Russia, so does Sweden, and so does Finland. They can pipeline into the rest of Europe through Denmark. They could turn on the pipelines through Nord Stream and other avenues. They have other pipelines. They have other avenues. They can actually impose. They can actually get Russian oil straight from Russia. But Russia told them this. He said, we aren't going to deal with you while you're still dealing with the US because we're not going to go through any of the nonsense. Remember that? That was about 5 weeks ago. Oh, well, we're not going to sanction you if you do Russian oil, blah, blah, nonsense. Nope. That sanction goes completely off, and you have to literally see the U.S. as it is. Now, with Trump's help, these nations are seeing the U.S. as it actually is. And Europe is foolish. The politicians are, not the people. That's going to change. Give it about another 2 weeks. it'll change. China's still looking good. It was reported that one ship was able to get into and exit the Strait of Hormuz. So obviously, the U.S. is not going to deal with China, but it's going to deal with these smaller nations. And guess who the U.S. is going to deal with? They're going to deal with the European nations that contracted with Iran. This is the response to that. Hey, I told you that. I told you. I said America doesn't like Europe. I said, matter of fact, America hates Europe. I told you this a couple of weeks ago. America hates Europeans. I told you this. Trump says it without saying it in so many words. Yep, he hates Spain. He hates France. He's going to show you how much he hates Germany here in a little bit. And then when the UK, when they're done playing whatever they're playing, because the UK is just, they're just an entity of the Middle Eastern or the Eastern Middle Mediterranean nation. When they get through playing dumb and getting wrecked, which they will, and Europe is, or excuse me, in the UK is an island, then sentiments are definitely going to turn around. And when that comes, when that day comes, it's gonna come quickly. I pray that our people realize how quickly this thing happens. It doesn't take forever. It actually goes relatively quickly. It actually moves relatively quickly. This isn't World War II. This isn't World War One. These aren't these wars that you have correspondence that's taken months to get back. This is a war of information that takes milliseconds. And you have information at your fingertips that's at the click of a button. So now I'm going to tell you, you're getting ready to see what happens on this horizon. This is from the sun. This is as of today. Flashpoint. China defies Trump's blockade of Strait of Hormuz as U.S. sanctioned tanker brazenly sails through waterway unchallenged. It's showing the graphic of where it's going. And it exited right through the strait. Whoa, boy. So much for those mines that, the U.S. said that, well, Iran doesn't know where the mines are at. You all know that that's their game that they always like to play. China has brazenly breezed past Donald Trump's Strait of Hormuz blockade with its U.S. sanctioned tanker passing by American warships unchallenged. The U.S. Navy's blockade of the vital trade route began yesterday as Trump looks to pressure Iran's top brass into accepting his nuclear demands. China's sanctioned rich starry safely or has passed safely through the Strait of Hormuz. The vessel was tracked traveling through the vital trade route unchallenged. And the U.S. Navy has deployed a fearsome amount of destroyers, sonar ships, and minesweepers to the 24-mile wide choke point, daring enemy vessels to try flouting the blockade. Now, I do have to say, with this show of force, I look at it like this. This is more so it's a deception tactic. And they're letting the U.S. kind of go along with the tactic. Okay, you can say whatever you want. If you touch any of our ships, we're going to sink you. That's what it looks like to me. You got to remember, they know the United States really better than we do. They are able to have that understanding. We have an emotional bias, and I pray that we all understand that. We have an emotional bias. Everybody does. I do. We all do. Sometimes it takes people that do not have that emotional connection to truly see and understand things. Oh, yeah, I didn't really see that. Because why? Because we have blind spots. So I look at it like this, where they don't want to obviously address it. The U.S. is just floating out there in the water. Um, Brother Charles says, so if all you are saying is true, China will eventually get Taiwan without ever having to fire a single shot. That could potentially be the case. Because why? Because sometimes when you're showing your hand, you're showing your hand. What are you getting on out of it? Well, I would say this. Again, for smaller nations, again, I would say not just smaller nations, but EU nations. Oh, they're definitely going to get their stuff stolen for EU nations. Hey, you want your stuff back? You got to pay us. Y'all didn't know how this thing worked? Oh, they're cold blooded. They are cold-blooded. And now you're starting to see how that happens. So we'll stand by. Tomorrow it's day 47, and that could be significant because somebody that is the holy and sanctified one loves the number 47. No, you all have to see the cycle. It's a market cycle. He doesn't say anything today. He won't say anything tomorrow or tomorrow evening. That's when they start to say something. Then Thursday, they start to do something. And on Friday, that's when they react after the markets close. This is how the weekend warrior works. So you'll start to see something tomorrow night. Now, have you all noticed that? That's the pattern. Well, family, again, thank you all for your support. We are continuing to work through this hospital project. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, anything helps. It really does. We are here to build a relationship with our brothers and sisters on the continent. We have an excellent group of people in the background that's helping to support getting this project up and going, especially during this time. Now you're starting to understand prophetically, we're going to have to flee. I didn't say it. Trump tweeted it, and now the rest of the nations are mad. I don't know, but it just seems to me everything that they're doing, they're just shooting themselves in the foot. The wisdom of teaming, the knowledge of teaming. That's Obadiah. That's all I got to say, man. They're having some Obadiah moments. But let them have their Obadiah moments. We're having two sticks coming together moment and having the Most High bless and heal our relationship with our brothers and sisters on the continent. So with that said, family, I got to get up on out of here. Most High willing, I will be back on tomorrow, and we'll see what happens within this 12 and 24-hour news cycle. So with that, shalom, salama, siyemi, shalom, peace and blessings, Yasharel.